Corner, where I will be talking all things PR, eventing, and entrepreneurship from my corner of the world to yours. A very big thank you to everyone who has liked, who has subscribed, and who has shared this channel, and we are so excited to be growing each and every single day. So today's episode is going to be a brief one, but impactful, I hope. I'll be chatting about 10 points over 10 years in the game. So, you would think 10 years, when someone says, I've got 10 years worth of experience. Experience counts from the day you started your internship. It starts from the day you have, had to complete your hours. Experience is experience. And one of my ex-bosses always used to say, it's not always about what you earn, but what you learn. So today I'm going to be talking about all the nuggets that I have learned over the years in the industry and why it has led me to where I am today. So please do stick around. Do like, share, and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Let's get into it. And as I've mentioned, the top 10 points that I'll be sharing with my experience over the 10 years. So guys, first things first, remember that the game is always bigger than the man, and we will never be greater than the game. If COVID-19 has shown us anything, it has definitely indicated that whatever we thought was a perfect working methodology might not necessarily be it. Having a vast amount of networks and knowing the ins and outs might not be the only factor that can separate you from being a great entrepreneur. So, being greater than the game does not serve anyone in any form whatsoever. What does that mean? That means stay humble and keep your nose in the ground first and foremost before anything else. Let's dig right into it. First things first, establish your contact base. So when you meet people at, whether it's an event, networking, a gathering, or whatever the case may be, establish that network, get contact numbers, be able to give out your contact numbers as well. If you feel that you don't want everyone having your private number, have another line or have another mobile device that you use in order to have communication, and then set it up as well to be a business account. So whether it's your WhatsApp, whether it's your telephone line, whatever the case may be open to receive contacts and also be able to give your contacts. That is step number one. Number two, maintain the contact with those people. So if, for instance, I have seen that one of my clients or someone that I'm looking to work with has achieved something great on social media, I will be then the first person or be in their inbox or DM or on their contact list to say, congratulations on that great achievement, you really did well. Whether they respond or whether they don't respond should not be a factor, but the fact that you are staying top of mind is one of the key factors that could set you apart from anyone who has made contact with them. With that being said, there is absolutely no need to then be a groupie. If it's someone that you feel that you look up to or that you admire, to always be constantly blowing up their phone or their inbox. One message at a time, or even a general celebration to say Merry Christmas, we wish you well, Happy New Year. If you know when their birthday is, a happy birthday would also suffice. So make contact with people that you look towards working with or aspire to, and then stay top of mind, but also within regulation. Number three, do your homework, know your insights. When you are confident in what you know, you will be confident in what you talk about or what you say. So when you are armed with knowledge, that means you are armed with confidence. When you go out and interview someone, if you are in the journalistic kind of space, then it is best to do your research properly. Understand the ins and outs. Understand this person, what type of person they are, what type of questions they enjoy. a little bit more background information, so that when you do ask relevant questions, you ask questions that have context, that have insights, that show that you have done your homework. When you have done your homework, you also become confident in putting out your work, in talking to people, and also being able to engage with others, because you are filled with the correct information. But that does not mean that if you don't know anything, don't go out and find the information. As Richard Branson always says, sometimes you say yes to the job and then you only find out later on when you are in the job what it entails. So there are times where maybe you might be in your depths, but that does not stop you from researching, YouTubing, Googling, finding out what it entails to be armed with the knowledge in order for you to be as confident as you possibly can be when conducting an interview, doing research, or delivering on something that has been expected of you. Number 4, always say thank you and always show gratitude within 48 hours of engagement. Now, I remember at the World Cup when I worked there in 2010, that was over 11 years ago. One of the ladies, Christina, who was my mentor, and she was the vice president of one of the cohorts that we were under, was such a positive influence in my life that after the World Cup, I maintained contact with her to just establish a good database to find out insights on what people in broadcasting are doing in your Switzerlands and other first world countries, in order for me to take that information and apply it into my business. And remember, I didn't even have a business 10, 11 years ago, but I knew that this is someone that I would love to have in my little black book, and should anything arise or if I have to travel abroad, that she would be someone I would be able to contact or be in touch with. One of the most important things is, if someone has been of service to you, has assisted in you in any way, always show gratitude. Whether you have hosted an event, show gratitude within the first 48 hours. If you cannot get to them personally, one-on-one, have a group thank you message that you send out to say, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this special occasion. Thank you for the auspicious attendance. Thank you for whatever the case may be, but gratitude really does go a long way. So one of the points that I would definitely highlight, something that is overlooked often, especially in the business world, but thank you really does go a really long way. Professional behavior, timeliness, and punctuality. Now, I have dealt with many people across the spectrum, and you find that those who are the most successful are not always the ones who are the most prominent or the ones who are most talented, but it is the ones who are the most consistent when it comes to punctuality, when it comes to keeping time, and when it comes to being consistent. So whatever sphere you are playing in, you may not necessarily be the most or the greatest that you think in your space, but having a spirit of excellence when doing whatever, when delivering on something, can set you miles apart from someone who has natural talent. So timelessness. What is an aid when you're timeless? This helps you in reading the room and understanding what is going on. When you arrive at an event early, you're able to see who is seated where, you're able to see the program at a shorter, for a greater amount of time. You're able to gauge a lot of things that you wouldn't have been able to if you rushed to the venue and just scurried and looked for your seat. When you are timeless, or when you arrive timelessly, it gives you enough time to scope what is going on, what is being set up, who are the relevant key players, and a lot more that is behind the scenes that can give you more insights into whether it is the event, the program, whatever the case may be, versus someone who has arrived on time or who has arrived late. So being punctual in life in general is definitely of great assistance. I know from one of my mentors, she always says, Sasetu, if you are 15 minutes prior to your appointment, then you are actually on time, and if you arrive on the hour that you should be there, you're actually late. So people who understand that time is money, that business is time, really value the importance of keeping time and being punctual. So even if you're not great at what you do, if you master those two, you will definitely stand way ahead than your fellow peers. And our next point is about giving back. Now, giving back does not necessarily entail financial giving back at all times. You can give back using your time. You can give back using your expertise, your resources, your networks to someone who needs it. So if someone gives you a call and says, Sasetu, I really would like to find out from you, how do you do X, Y, and Z? It'll cost me absolutely nothing to give them 10 minutes of my time to say, look, I really feel that you could benefit from this. Here is a coaching session that I will give to you at absolutely no cost in order for you to become better. Because in order for me to get where I am, I have had a lot of people who have given back into myself and who have also given back into my business. So giving back does not necessarily mean giving back in terms of money. You can advise insights so that people don't make the same mistakes that you have made. You can give back in terms of mentorship and assist and guide someone to get to where they need to be. You can also give back in terms of resources. If a small company is looking to acquire a few things for their office space, and you do perhaps have access to one or more furniture items or a spare laptop, giving back to that company is also a form of giving back and advancing them in order for them to get to where they need to be. So giving back, I have found in my experience, has been an integral part of the business, and it does not necessarily mean that you need to reach a certain milestone or be in a certain position or make X amount of figures in order to give back. The next one is never assume anything. Now, my English teacher always says, if you assume, you're making an ass out of you and me. So, before you go into any type of agreement, do not assume or take things for granted that this is what the other person entails or this is what the company entails. Especially when it comes to non-disclosure agreements, when it comes to things such as contracts, when it even comes to things such as verbal agreements. Never assume something that you don't understand. If you need clarity on an issue, rather over-communicate than under-communicate. Don't assume that because I did this, that automatically means I should get paid for that. Or just because I did this favor, you then automatically owe me this favor. Assumptions are a mother of all F-ups. So do not assume, whether it's in your personal life or in your business life, if you really want to succeed. My next step is things happen for a reason. Breathe and move on. If there's anything that I have learned over the 10 years, is to take nothing personally. Breathe in, breathe out, and move on. There are so many instances, so many situations where, you find on social media where a company maybe had ill treatment from a client, or a client had ill treatment from a company, and they blow up on each other's Facebook posts, or they write a really nasty remark which is very personal and does not necessarily relate to the issue at hand. There have been lots of instances where you ask yourself, why didn't I get the gig? Why didn't I get the tender? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Do not assume anything. Breathe in, breathe out, and move on. If you do not get accepted into a program, find out, why didn't I get accepted into this program? And not take it personally. Maybe you might find that you're not really equipped to be a part of the program. Maybe you need to kind of tighten up a few things in your own life or in your own business that you're working on, or maybe that you're not really a good fit for what you are trying to achieve or what the program is going to give to you. You take those points, you fix up where you can fix up, and you keep it moving. I cannot tell you how many times I've applied for so many different projects, to be a part of so many different platforms, and getting a rejection letter to say, Sisetu, thank you for your application, but unfortunately you did not make the cut. Sometimes institutions or companies don't even tell you why you didn't make the cut, but you just put on your brave face and you keep on moving. So even as an entrepreneur, the chances of you getting a no versus a yes are almost at a hit rate of about 7 out of 10 times. So from my experience, 7 out of 10 times would be a no and 3 times would be a yes. So if you kind of go in with that mentality that chances are people are going to say no to me, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person, but I just need to keep it moving. You'll find that you will succeed so much more and will not take things personally and understand that it is the nature of the beast. So breathe in, breathe out, and keep it moving. Our next point is believing in yourself and playing to your strengths. Now, as an entrepreneur or a consultant or a freelancer, we often find ourselves with the imposter syndrome. What is the imposter syndrome? You're not actually supposed to be doing this. You're not good enough. Maybe this is not for you. Look at so-and-so, they're doing so much better. Believe in yourself and play to your strengths. I believe that anyone and everyone who has started something has a God-given or an innate ability to achieve whatever it is that they need to achieve. Sometimes we need to pivot certain things and kind of rearrange them and work along, but the fact that you are starting means that you are capable of doing something. So never let that be taken away from you. I mean, when I looked at other communications and PR agencies, I thought to myself, how on earth am I ever going to get there? How on earth am I ever going to do this? These people have in-house graphic designers, they have copywriters, they are able to do X, Y, and Z. They've got experience with projects way over millions of rands. And here I am with just a few interns and a couple of people helping me out and not much resources. But as you build and as you grow and as you play to your strengths, knowing that whatever I have set my mind to, I can achieve. It does not necessarily mean that I'm going to host the next big concert just immediately, but slowly but surely, as time goes on, as I build that contact list that we spoke about, as I start experiencing more events, as I start seeing what's happening out there, as I start collaborating with other entities, then we will eventually get there. So when you play to your strengths and when you're confident in what you know you are capable of doing, do not allow the imposter syndrome to get to you. It gets to all of us at one pace or another. One of my mentors always says to me, when you get a piece of relief or a sigh of relief means that there was something that was overwhelming you at one point or another, and that was because you were taking on a lot of different things. Now, when you start out a business, there's no accountant and this and that and the other. You are everything unto yourself. Naturally, you're going to get overwhelmed because you cannot be all things to all people at all times. However, those are one of the downfalls or one of the low moments that you find in business, that you kind of have to do everything at the beginning, because A, it helps you understand how things work, and B, it also gives you a holistic experience of your business. So when you start, you can't just start with a whole lot of team members and a whole big corporate, because you'll never really fully understand the ins and outs. The owner or the founder of the business needs to understand from beginning to end, and then start incorporating people how they see best what would work for their business. And then be careful of what you post on social media. Friends, I don't know how many times I've shared this. I think I'm sharing this for the third time. But you have to absolutely be careful of what you share on social media. I remember one of my students, when I was lecturing, he actually gave great advice, and he said, what I do is I have an alias account. If I know I'm going to post things that might not necessarily speak to who I'm trying to become, have an alias account where you can post all your crazy things that will not affect your work and who you are and what you're trying to achieve. Because whether we like it or not, if I receive a proposal from a company or an individual, the first thing I will do is to log on to my social media, write their name down, and look at what I can see or what is being fed on the internet about them. So that will give me more insight versus the very pretty document that is in front of me, but more about the person in the background. So be very careful of what you post on social media. Lastly, and certainly not least, whatever you do, do it with dignity. Always have integrity. So you ask yourself, what is integrity? Integrity is doing the right thing, especially when no one is watching. Sometimes in business, you find yourself compromised with certain clients, or someone approaches you to do something that is not necessarily in line with who you are, or you know what is right, and they could offer you a large sum of money. Maintain your integrity, because believe it or not, it will come and bite you later on. I remember being approached by a company who had a CEO who had engaged in some, unlawful activities, and they wanted me to do a PR campaign to say that no, this guy did not do what he said what the media is saying he has done, and we will offer you X amount of money. Now, at that time, my company was still growing in its initial early phases, and that sum of money could have been a real game changer. But I thought to myself, if this had happened to my daughter and there was someone out there who is saying, please start a campaign to say that this guy has not committed the allegations that are made against him, would I be happy about that? So when my integrity had to kick in, I had to decline and say, guys, thank you so much for the offer, but unfortunately, I definitely would not be able to do that. So in everything, remember integrity, doing the right thing even when no one is watching. So guys, you are your brand. The fact that you're walking on 2 feet means you're a brand. Whether you're a 5 Rand brand, a 500 Rand brand, or a 500,000 or a 5 million Rand brand, the fact of the matter is you are a brand. So protect your brand with everything that you've got, because you don't know what opportunities it may present to you or what opportunities you might miss because of the way you manage your brand. And that brings us to the end of our episode. We would love to hear more from you guys. Please do like, subscribe, share the content so that we can keep the community growing. And a very big thank you to Michelle Brown, our PR guru in Gqeberha, who has given me a few of these insights from one of her talks that she gave at the BWA many years ago. So thanks, Michelle. Your valid input in the PR industry is still great to this day. A very big thank you to my friends at the Hang Around Media Company for the exceptional work that they are doing. Please check them out. Their link is in the bio below. So without further ado, a very big thank you from me, the THMC crew. Until next week, goodbye and God bless. Stay winning and keep doing better.